In our math workbook today, we're going to be in volume 2, and we're going to be doing several different pages on writing and solving expressions, starting on page 632. So I am not going to write in my workbook, but you can definitely write in yours. So the first one we're doing is evaluate 1/3 times 8 minus 5 plus 9, and it says show your work. So we have grouping symbols, so the first thing we're going to do is subtract 8 minus 5. 8 minus 5 is 3. We write it below. We copy down everything else. We don't have any more grouping symbols, so the next step is exponents. We don't have any exponents, so the next step is multiplication and division. I do have multiplication. 1/3 times 3. I put a 1 under it. 1 times 3 is 3. 3 times 1 is 3. 3/3 is the same thing as 1. Copy down everything else. I don't have any more multiplication and subtraction, so I just need to add 1 plus 9, which is 10. So my final answer is 10. Number 7, Jake used the order of operations to evaluate the expression 9 plus 8 minus 4 times 3 minus 2. He says the solution is 3. Natalie changes the location of the parentheses so that the expression reads 9 plus 8 minus 4 times 3 minus 2. Evaluate Natalie's expression, show your work. So we just want to evaluate Natalie's expression. 9 plus 8 minus 4 times 3 minus 2. Order of operations says I do parentheses first. 3 minus 2 is 1. I copy down everything else. I need to do exponents after grouping symbols, but I don't have any. I need to do multiplication and division after exponents. I do have 4 times 1, which is 4. Copy down everything else. After multiplication and division comes addition and subtraction, whatever comes first. My addition comes first. 9 plus 8 is 17. I copy down everything else. And 17 minus 4 is 13. So Natalie's expression is 13. Number 8, the numerical expression 1/4 times 7 times 6 plus 2 minus 5 is evaluated as shown. In which step does a mistake first appear? So we're going to work out 1/4 times 7 times 6 plus 2. Order of operations says do grouping symbols first. Inside grouping symbols we have multiplication and addition. Order of operations says do multiplication first. I did forget this minus 5 right here. Okay, do multiplication first, so we're going to do 7 times 6, which is 42. Copy down everything else, including the parentheses, because I have not finished everything inside the parentheses. Since I have not finished everything inside the parentheses, and grouping symbols comes first, I have to do 42 plus 2, which is 44. Now that I've completed both operations, I don't have to copy down the grouping symbols anymore, but I do have to copy down everything else. There are no exponents. Multiplication and division comes before addition and subtraction, so I'm going to put a 1 under it. 1 times 44 is 44. 4 times 1 is 4. And 44 divided by 4 is 11. Copy down everything else. And 11 minus 5 is 6. So now we're going to compare our work to the work in the book to see where the mistake was different. So the first thing they did, this is the problem, remember. So this is step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. So are both of our step 1s the same? No. So step 1 is where the mistake is. In their step 1, they did addition before multiplication, and you're not supposed to do that. So you need to mark step 1. The next page that we're going to do is 634. Each day, Darius walks his dog 15 minutes in the morning and 25 minutes in the afternoon. Evaluate the expression 7 times 15 plus 25 to find out how many minutes Darius walks his dog each week. So 15 minutes in the morning, 25 in the afternoon. We're going to add those, and then we're going to multiply by 7 because there are 7 days in a week. So 15 plus 25 is 40. Copy down everything else. 7 times 40 is 280. So he walks his dog 280 minutes each week. Number 4, we just have an expression to evaluate. 9 plus 21 minus 6 divided by 3. We do grouping symbols first. 21 minus 6 is 15. We copy down everything else. We must do multiplication and division before addition and subtraction. 15 divided by 3 is 5. We copy down everything else. And 9 plus 5 is 14. Number 5, Sarah has $50. While shopping, Sarah chooses a shirt that costs $12, a pair of pants that cost $26. The clothes are on sale. Sarah only needs to pay half the regular price. Evaluate the expression 50 minus 1/2 times 12 plus 26 to find how much money Sarah has left after buying the clothes. So she's buying a shirt for 12, a pair of pants for 26. That's why we're adding 12 plus 26. But she only has to pay half the cost. That's why we're multiplying it by 1/2. And then finally, we're going to subtract the amount that she has to pay from 50 because she has $50 to spend. 50 minus 1/2 times 12 plus 26. We do our grouping symbols first. 12 plus 26 is 38 times 1/2 minus 50. Multiplication and a division come before addition and subtraction, so we have to multiply 1/2 times 38. We're going to put a 1 under it. 1 times 38 is 38. 2 times 1 is 2. And if we divide 38 by 2, 19. And then we're going to do 50 minus 19, which is 31. Page 635, write a numerical expression to represent the following phrase. They just want us to write it. We do not have to solve it. So 15 minus the sum of 6 and 7. 15 minus the sum of 6 and 7. That's actually not correct. I wrote it on purpose to see if y'all are paying attention. I wrote it wrong on purpose. This word sum means I have to add 6 and 7 first. So you have to put parentheses around 6 plus 7. You do not actually have to solve this and work it out because it just said write the expression. The next page is page 638. Number 7 on page 638, we're not going to draw a picture. We're just going to write the expression for 2 times the difference of 8 and 1. So, number 7, 2 times the difference of 8 and 1. Difference means subtract, but it means the answer to a subtraction problem, so we have to put parentheses around 8 minus 1. It does not say solve. It just says to write the expression, and I told you didn't have to draw the picture. Number 8, write an expression for the phrase 6 plus the quotient of 15 and 3. We don't have to draw a picture. 6 plus the quotient of 15 and 3. Quotient means divide. It does mean the answer to a division problem, but you don't have to put parentheses on this one. Without parentheses, I'm still going to do division first because division comes before addition in the order of operations. However, if you want to put parentheses because that word quotient means get the answer to 15 divided by 3 first, you can certainly put them there. Number 9, which phrase correctly interprets the expression below? So we have 24 minus. Well, this says 24 plus. That ain't going to work. This says 24 minus. That might work. Half the sum of 3 and 5 subtracted from 24. That might work. Half of 3 subtracted from 24. Well, they both have something subtracted by 24. Maybe they work. Let's look at them. A, we know, is not the correct answer because it doesn't have any subtraction happening. But let's look at B, C, and D. So B says 24 minus half the sum. Half would be the same thing as multiplying by 1/2. Half of 3, then add 5. So they want us to do this first, then add 5. That word then means to do this and then add 5. So that is not the correct representation of what we are looking for. Let's look and see if C is the correct representation. Half the sum of 3 and 5. Half the sum of 3 and 5 means I need to add 3 and 5 first because it uses the word sum, which is the answer to an addition problem, subtracted from 24. Now, some of you might be thinking that's this, but it is not. It tells us to subtract this away from 24. So the 24 should actually come first. Half times 3 plus 5. We're going to get rid of this because that was wrong. The 24 should come first, and I didn't have enough room to put it. So that looks like our representation we're looking for. But I'm going to work out D just to make sure. Half of 3 subtracted from 24 means I want to take this away from the 24, so the 24 has to come first, and then add 5. So I got to do all of this before I add 5. That means all of this has to go in parentheses and then add 5. So no, D was not the correct answer. Letter C correctly represented the expression we were looking for. On page 639, you do not have to draw a picture, but I do want you to write that in numbers and symbols. So number 1, 12 plus the quotient of 8 and 4. Quotient means divide. Because division comes before addition in the order of operations anyway, you do not have to put parentheses, but you certainly can if you want to. Number 2 on that same page, suppose you wrote the numerical expression for 20 minus the product of 5 and 2. To evaluate the expression, should you subtract or multiply first? Explain. Well, before we can say what we would do first, we first have to write the expression in numbers and symbols. So 20 minus, the product means multiply, product of 5 and 2. Product of 5 and 2. It does mean get the answer to 5 plus 2 first. You would do multiplication before subtraction anyway, but you could put parentheses if you wanted to. Now the question says, should you subtract or multiply first? Explain. You should multiply first, and you have to explain because multiplication comes before subtraction in the order of operations. You don't have to explain it the same way I did, but you do have to write an explanation. On page 640, write a numerical expression to represent 20 minus the product of 5 and 2, then evaluate your expression. So we have to write and solve because it tells us to solve it. So 20 minus the product of 5 and 2. Same problem from last time, but now they tell us to solve it. 5 times 2 is 10. We copy down everything else, and 20 minus 10 is 10. Complete the statement. The value of, what would we say there? It wouldn't be 1/5. That's not 1/5. 5 times, could be 5 times. 5 more? That would be 5 plus. 5 less? That would be 5 subtract. So it is letter B. We're going to do the value of 5 times as large as 23,432 and 10,816. Letter B. You just had to think through that one. You didn't have to really show any work. Number 5, write a numerical expression to represent 6 times the difference of 9 and 3, then evaluate. So we do have to solve it. 6 times difference means subtract, 9 and 3, but difference is one of those special words that means we need to do this first, so we have to have parentheses. 9 minus 3 is 6, and 6 times 6 is 36. Write a word phrase for this expression. You could write several different things. I'm going to write 10 added to the difference, because difference is one of those key words that means I need to do this first. The difference of 6 and 4. Yours does not have to be exactly like mine, but it surely can. Number 7. I don't know why I said 11. Shayna is doing a craft project using yarn and craft sticks. She has 5 green yarn pieces and 7 blue yarn pieces. She has 3 times as many craft sticks as yarn pieces. Which expression can you use to find the number of craft sticks Shayna has? Before we look at these answer choices, we should write our own answer. So she has 5 green and 7 blue yarn pieces. 5 green and 7 blue yarn pieces. She has 3 times as many stick pieces as yarn pieces. So we would take this answer and multiply it by 3, because she has 3 times as many sticks as yarns. So if we now look at our answer choices, which one says what we wrote? Letter B. Number 8, look at your answer in problem 7. Evaluate the expression to find the number of craft sticks she has. So we would add 5 plus 7 first, 12. Then we would multiply by 3. She has 36 craft sticks. 641. Anaya sells bracelets and pairs of earrings at a craft fair. Each item sells for $8. Write a word phrase that describes the calculations you would do to find how much money Anaya makes by selling 23 bracelets and 17 pairs of earrings. Then write and evaluate an expression to find how much money she makes. So we have to write a word phrase. We have to write an expression and evaluate that expression. So they're looking for three things: a word phrase, an expression, and our evaluation of that expression. I actually think it's easiest to write the expression first, not the word phrase first, so that's where I'm going to start. So number 1, she has, each item sells for $8. So all of her bracelets and her earrings all sell for $8. So I would add her bracelets and earrings that she sold, and then I would multiply that by 8. So that is my expression. I'm going to evaluate or solve my expression. So that is 40 times 8, and 40 times 8 is 320. So she made $320. That's my answer for my evaluation, but I still have to write a word phrase. My word phrase is going to be add 23 bracelets and 17 earrings, then multiply by $8. Notice I use the words then. That means I have to do this addition before I can multiply, and I need that signal word in there. I could have used multiply the sum of 23 and 17, because that sum word is another keyword that means parentheses. But I also could use the word then, like I did. Number 2, write a numerical expression for the product of 3 and 2 plus 5 and 3 times the sum of 5 and 2. Which expression has a greater value? Show your work. So number 2, we actually have 2 expressions we're writing. The product of 3 and 2, 3 times 2 plus 5. And the other expression is 3 times the sum of 2 and 5. Because that word sum is there, I have to put parentheses around 2 plus 5. Now I'm going to work them both out. In this problem, I have to do multiplication first, because multiplication and division come before addition and subtraction. So that would be 6 plus 5, which is 11. In this problem, I have parentheses around 2 plus 5, so I have to do that first, which is 7 times 3, which is 21. And the expression with the parentheses has the greater value. Which expression represents the quotient of 2,375 and 125 plus 5? The word quotient means divide. So I want to divide 2,375 and 125. Only one of these is dividing 2,375 and 25. And that is letter D. Jason chose A as the correct answer. He didn't pay attention to his parentheses. They want us to divide this. They want us to get the quotient of this, which means the answer to the division problem, which means we cannot use parentheses and we have to do the division first. So make sure you circle letter D and you write me an explanation as to how Jason got his answer as A. If you need to pause the video to get that done, go ahead and pause the video. On page 643, Chris ran 3 miles each day for 7 days in a row. One day she ran an extra half mile. Which expression represents how many miles Chris ran altogether? So before we look at our answer choices, we're going to write our own expression. 3 miles each day for 7 days. So that would be 3 times 7. One day, she ran an extra half mile. So one day, she ran an extra half a mile. So let's see which answer choice says that, which is answer choice B. Number 5, which expressions, more than one, have a value of 8? So we're going to work out every single one. 3 times 8 divided by 4 plus 2. I'm going to write down letter B, and yes, you should write all of these down as well. You can write them down on your book, or you can write them down on scratch paper. But you do need to copy them down because there's not enough room to work them out where they are currently written. 3 times 8 divided by 4 plus 2. Ooh, I got 2 more. D, 3 times 8 divided by 4 plus 2. And E, 3 times 8 divided by 4 plus 2 in parentheses. All right. Same numbers, just parentheses in different spots, which means we work them out differently. In our first problem, there are no grouping symbols, there are no exponents. We do multiplication and division in order from left to right. This multiplication comes first. 3 times 8 is 24. Copy down everything else. I still have multiplication or division. I have division. I haven't gotten rid of it. I have to do that first. 24 divided by 4 is 6. I don't have any more multiplication or division. I just need to add. 6 plus 2 is 8. So A is one of our correct answers. Now in letter B, we have grouping symbols. So we're going to divide 8 divided by 4 first, which is 2. Copy down everything else. I don't have any more grouping symbols. I don't have any exponents. I do have multiplication. 3 times 2 is 6. I don't have any more multiplication or division, so I add, and I get 8. B is the correct answer. Make sure you show all of your work. All right, letter C. We do grouping symbols first. 3 times 8 is 24. Copy down everything else. I still have grouping symbols. 4 plus 2 is 6. I copied down everything else. I don't have exponents. All I have left is division, and 24 divided by 6 is 4. That does not equal 8. Letter D, I have grouping symbols. 3 times 8 is 24. Copy down everything else. I don't have any exponents. I do have multiplication or division. I have division. 24 divided by 4 is 6. Copy down everything else. 6 plus 2 is 8. D is the correct answer. Letter E, grouping symbols comes first. 4 plus 2 is 6. I'm going to copy down everything else. I don't have any more grouping symbols. I don't have exponents. I do have multiplication and division. I do whichever one comes first, left to right. So when I look from the left, I go do, 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 do. Oh, look, 3 times 8 comes first. 3 times 8 is 24. Copy down everything else. 24 divided by 6 is 4, not 8. So A, B, and D were our 3 answers that equaled 8. Number 6, which phrase is a correct interpretation of the expression below? Half of 10 plus 6 plus 3. Half of 10 plus 6 plus 3. Nope, there's no plus there. That's not right. The sum of 3 and 2. Okay, they do have the sum of 3 and 2. That's good. Times half the sum. Times half the sum? Are they times in this sum by that sum? No, they're not doing times on those two. That's not correct. Let's look at letter C. The sum of 10 and 6, okay, got the sum of 10 and 6, minus the sum of 3 and 2, minus the sum of 3 and 2, times a half. They almost got it correct, but that half is in the wrong spot. So it must be letter D, but we're going to look at it closely. Half the sum of 10 and 6. So sum of 10 and 6, they got that in brackets, that's good. We're going to take half of that sum, which means we're going to multiply it by a half. Minus, good, we got our subtraction sign. The sum of 3 and 2 means we're going to add 3 and 2. So yes, letter D is our correct answer. Number 7, insert parentheses into the expression below so that the value of the expression is 5. Show your work. So we want to work this problem out with parentheses somewhere and get an answer of 5. 20 minus 3 times 4 plus 1. This is number 7. And we want this answer to be 5. Where could we put our parentheses? Well, if we put our parentheses here, that's not going to change anything because 3 times 4 is already going to happen first. So that's not going to make any difference. 3 times 4 is automatically going to go first. Where should we put the parentheses? Let's try our parentheses around 20 minus 3. Let's see if that does anything. 20 minus 3 is 17. 17, copy down everything else, times 4 plus 1. Well, if I multiply 17 times 4, I'm going to get a bigger number. And then if I add one more, I'm going to get an even bigger number. So that's not leading towards 5. Let's try again. 20 minus 3 times 4 plus 1. Let's try our parentheses around 4 plus 1. So 4 plus 1 is 5. I'm going to copy down everything else. Too bad I can't just leave that 5 and say I got my answer, but I have to finish working out the problem. Multiplication comes before subtraction in the order of operations. 3 times 5 is 15. Woohoo! And 20 minus 15 is 5. So you need to put your parentheses around 4 minus 1, and you need to work it out and solve the problem. The last page is 644. Adam is 2 years old. His sister Lena is 1 year less than 3 times his age. Write a numerical expression for Lena's age, whoever this person is. Number 8. Adam is 2 years old. 2 years old. Got it. His sister Lena is 1 year less. 1 year less than 3 times his age. We're not multiplying 1 times 3. We're multiplying 3 times his age. What was his age? His age was 6. So we're going to multiply 3 times his age. Number 9, several expressions are shown below. Decide if each value of the expression is less than, equal to, or greater than 18. Write each expression in the correct category in the table. 1/5 times 9 times 2. 9 times 2 is 18. If we would take 1/5 of 18, our answer is going to get smaller. So that should be less than 18. So you're going to write it in the less than spot. 9 times 2 plus 7. 9 times 2 is 18, and I'm going to add 7 to it, so that's going to be greater than 18. Make sure you write it in the greater than spot. 9 times 2 times 4 minus 3. 9 times 2 is 18, and I'm going to multiply that by something else. I don't have to finish working this out because I know when I multiply 18 by something else, it's going to get bigger, unless it's a fraction. But it's not a fraction. So that's going to be greater than 18. 4 times 1/4 times 9 times 2. 9 times 2 is 18. Copy down everything else. I have to do my multiplication in order. So 4 times 1/4 is 4/4, or 1. And 1 times 18 is going to be equal to 18. 9 times 2 divided by 3. 9 times 2 is 18, and if we divide that by 3, we get smaller than 18, or less than 18. 1 times 9 times 2. 9 times 2 is 18, and if we multiply that by 1, we equal 18. 22 minus 9 times 2. 9 times 2 is 18. 22 minus 18 is going to be less than 18. 3 times 9 times 2. 9 times 2 is 18, and I'm going to multiply that by 3. It's going to be greater than 18. Make sure you put each one in the correct spot in the chart. You are not going to do number 10. You do need to make sure that you tear out all the pages that we just did, which was page 632, 634, and 635, 638 through 644. Make sure to email me if you have any questions.